George Kirkpatrick, inspiration for the nation, celebrating people we feel good about. Mark your calendars. Once again, it is the Minority Business Enterprise STEM Entrepreneurial Summit. Did I get it all right? October 14th at the Marriott Syracuse downtown, presented by the Center of Hope International. Here to talk about it is Bishop Ronald Dewberry. Really fantastic lineup. And once again, it's an opportunity for MWBE's minority and women-owned businesses to come together, to fellowship, to spend money with one another, but also to hear some very powerful and dynamic speakers. Talk to me.
Absolutely. We're excited about it. This is the 6th annual Minority Business Summit that we've done. And we got a great cast of presenters, and I know it's going to be a very powerful time. Um, and, not to mention the fact that our city as well as our region is experiencing what I call an economic renaissance.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in Syracuse long enough to see how the economy changed when I first got here, where it was, very industrialized. People can quit one job and go to the other job across the street and get the same pay. And then a lot of that went away. So it's been a long, dry period, but I think that we're on upswing now for sure.
Yeah, and part of that is the what do you call it, the word will come to me, but we're in you talk about momentum. That's the word. Momentum by the announcement of Micron coming in to town and what that's going to mean for people. And Syracuse is showing up on a lot of these best places to do this and cities on the rise to do that. What do you make of that?
Well, it's exciting, like I said, it's very, very exciting. I'm fortunate enough, as you will know, to be appointed to the Micron Community Engagement Committee.
Yes.
So I'm excited about the commitment that Micron made just building the four semiconductors here, $100 billion investment, the largest corporate investment in U.S. history. Our responsibility is to advise them on their $500 million investment in the community. We see industry moving here. There was a manufacturing company that moved outside of Batavia, which is outside of, as you well know, outside of Buffalo, from the UK, $319 million investment. There's I think it was in the Post Standard paper today, or if not yesterday, about a new chips company that's moving to Ithaca. So just a lot of excitement. I anticipate we're going to be the Silicon Valley of the Northeast, is what I call it.
I remember I was sitting in the room, Pastor Dewberry, and we were talking about how to tag the region, and there were a lot of names that came up, but we need to be creative. I was sitting in the room and they came up with this name called Convergence Country. And I'm like, why did no. And anyway, I always wondered about that. But what we are is a great place to move around and live and work and play. And the opportunities are here. Now, I'm in the fourth quarter, but there are people like my children who have, as young people, looking at other places to live, but at some point they may decide that they'll come back and be a part of this renaissance that's in the community. And you're somebody who's always kind of kept his hands into this entrepreneurial spirit, especially with this MWBE Summit, which you now have added the STEM component to it. But this is something that you've always sort of been forward thinking about. And I know that one of the topics of the summit is creating generational wealth. And part of what we see in our community is that, and Vicki talks about this, Vicki Brackens, all the time, is how do we not start from zero generation after generation?
Well, I think that we really have to get to the root, or really get to young people early, and to help prepare them for the economic changes that we're undergoing at the present time. And so, we're late, but we're not out. We
Hmm.
just have to do double time to try to catch up. So I think that a lot of the programming that you see being done, whether it be through Micron, as they're spending money in various ways in order to expose kids, underserved and underrepresented kids to the STEM field, other agencies that are geared towards that. I know it can happen. In fact, as you well know, in the city of Syracuse. We've seen a resurgence even in our downtown areas. I think it's over 5,000 people that are living in apartments or
Hmm.
condos downtown. So it's an uptick in that. I see young people coming back, gradually coming back here for a lot of different reasons. And some of it is family, some of it is because they are hearing about the economic upswing that is taking place, and they want to be a part of the transition. Some of it is because Syracuse has always been an affordable place. It's centrally located where you can, if you have an interest in accessing larger cities, you can get there within reasonable time, 3 to 5 hours. Whether you go to Canada, Boston, New York City, or any other place. So a lot of great reasons. I've always believed that it's a great place. It could be a better place. Obviously, we've gone through, as I said earlier, we've gone through a very very difficult time, especially among Black and Brown communities. Uh, so this is all the more reasons why we have to encourage and to really kind to empower, expose, educate our young people so that they can be prepared to walk into those positions, assume those positions, and that we're creating. I'm like you. I'm in the fourth quarter, and hopefully,
Right.
I can stick around, just a little bit while longer, just to see what the end is going to be.
I'm
And
ready
but
for triple or double overtime. I don't know about you.
yeah,
Come on,
yeah. Well, and I'm, like, I even heard, both of my kids aren't here. Both one is in
man.
Ohio and the other one's in Maryland. But my youngest is talking about coming here for a lot of different reasons.
Hmm.
Um, and
Now,
that
this is the
always
one.
that
Is this the one in Ohio or the one in Maryland? Which one?
one in Maryland, the one in
That's
Maryland.
interesting, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Hmm.
And in that environment, they see success at every level
Every
when it
level.
comes to that. But I think though it's family. I think that it's once I think just like myself, I'm from Columbus. Once you've grown up in a city like that, it depends on what you want, where you are in life, and things like that. And I always said if they pay me enough money, I can live anywhere. As long as I can pay for where I want to go. You
Right.
know, I can get by with it. And I think that in some respects, um, being in larger cities like that, um, like he's in Bowie, makes it very very difficult to get around. They're expecting their first child, and they start talking about daycare and what the cost of daycare is going to cost, and then the fact that it's going to take you an hour to get to the daycare center,
Right.
and an hour to get back, and if you're working full time, how much time you're going to have with your child, would it be better for you to move back to where what you left and be closer to family, and not have to deal with those kind of idiosyncrasies, um, but I think that, and like you, I'm sure I've seen a lot of young people start to migrate back here for a lot of different reasons, and I
Yeah.
hope that continues because I know what it's like to see them leave,
Yeah.
uh, the
I mean,
church and outside of the church.
exactly. And it's also that time you also want to give people, it's kind of a both and, right? You want people to be here and grow with them, but if they have the right opportunity, and at the same time you want them to see a little bit of the world before they come back, so it's sort of a both and. Like my youngest daughter is living in New York now, and who knows how long that's going to take place, but that's where the job is that she got, right? So she took it, and then we have one out in California and two here. So um
Both of them are paid out to be
right,
who they are.
right. So and the two cities, right? The cost of living is astronomical,
Right.
right? Finding a place to live, all of that stuff. So, but one of the things we want to help people with today, talking with Bishop Ronald Dewberry, CEO of the Center of Hope International, also the founder and senior pastor of the New Life Temple of Praise. So let's talk about the day itself. October the 14th. It's a Friday, right? It's a Friday.
It's a Saturday.
Saturday. I was trying to guess. I didn't have the calendar. It's a Saturday, October 14th, 9 to 5. Be at the Marriott Syracuse downtown. It's $175 per couple, $100 per person, and $50 for youth 13 to 18 years. No senior rate, I guess. But anyway, COI-inc.org to find out. So who's on the panel? Who will we be coming to see at the MWBE STEM Entrepreneurial Empowerment Summit?
Well, let me put this little disclaimer in first about the cost before I get on to that. One of the things that I've always tried to do with the summit is to make it as affordable as possible for everybody. In fact, I've sponsored a lot of people down through the years, as many as 50 people to come in the summit, at no cost, who couldn't pay the registration fee. And I say that in comparison to, and as you well know, most conferences, business conferences, particularly that I go to, I was on the panel with my friend John O'Brien down at the Hope Global Forum, and that spoke at that, and I also attended other years, and it starts out at $1,275.
Wow,
that was then, and so considering what the summit offers in terms of the workshops, I think that I bring a very unique cadre of people that present, because I want to expose people to the people that are successful. The wonderful thing that I can say about the people on my panel this year, as well as down through the years, is that they're not only people who are successful, but they're people who give back. These are people who give back. I mean, because all of them are millionaires. Of course, my two banquet speakers, meaning the morning speaker and luncheon speaker, of course, is my morning speaker is Fran Dillard, who's vice president and chief diversity inclusion officer at Micron Technology. She's going to speak this in the morning session, and then my luncheon speaker is Aisha Bowe, and Aisha Bowe is such a powerful woman. She's not only a former NASA space engineer, but she's founder and CEO of STEM Board Inc. It's a tech advisory business. It's probably one of the fastest growing minority female businesses in the country. She was just featured in Black Enterprise this past month, being the first African American woman to seal a contract with the U.S. government for $1 billion.
Wow!
And this is a tech company that's only been in business for 10 years. So $1 billion. So she's a major mover and shaker. That's one of her business. The other business that she has is called Lingo Solutions, and so I'm a partner with Aisha because I have a program that I offer through my not-for-profit called STEM in the Middle, which is a STEM youth coding program that focuses with kids between the ages 13 and 18.
You call it STEM in the Middle?
STEM in the Middle.
Okay.
It's on my website. So we target kids that are underserved and underrepresented, that have been placed primarily in the Syracuse City School alternative educational site. So as you will know, those kids that are placed in that, they have no access to the inner city, to the school's programming.
Right.
Virtually outsiders. And so I'm looking for the diamonds in the rough. And Aisha, she created a tool called Lingo that's on Amazon, and it's being used in 10 different countries, that teaches coding to youth. It's a hands-on coding kit that has like 6 different programs in it, that from developing cameras, backup cameras, cars, things like that. You need laptop and you need the kit, and it's a whole curriculum and everything. That's a major business too that she does at the same time. And so anyway, she's going to be here, and I might add too, she's also a future aeronautics engineer on Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin
Mm-hmm.
spacecraft. So she's supposed to fly this year. So I guess when the next flight goes out, she will go with that. So I'm excited about both of those ladies. Sonia Booker another featured presenter. She's a real estate mogul in Atlanta. She's spoken at our conference before. She's big on the ideal of creating generational wealth. She does um, she's got several awards in Atlanta. I'm sure most people know her in Atlanta, and it's the work that she does, the businesses that she owns downtown in Atlanta and things like that. Melinda Emerson, she's known as the small business lady. She's a best-selling author. She's a business expert. So we'll have those kinds of presentations in addition to, all the other workshops that we'll have, access to capital, procurement opportunities, entrepreneurship development, creating generational wealth, which Sonia is going to deal with. We also have entrepreneurship, media entrepreneurship is one of the training programs that we'll do. So if you don't know, I also do a program in collaboration with two Syracuse University professors called Black Media Mogul Makers. So
Mm-hmm.
as you will know, in the media space, the digital media space, there are very few minorities in our city here. We did our first program 2 years ago, very successful. We're scheduled to start to do another program training, which is a 10-week program, training program in the spring. And that's done with Sean Brennigan, who is the director of digital media entrepreneurship at Syracuse University, and Daniela Mota, who's a digital, in advertising.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so so we're excited about all the different programs, as well as the luncheon and the fellowship and the networking and things like that. And people will really have a great time. So I encourage them to go to the website, www.cohi.com, and you can read about a lot of different things that we're doing at Center of Hope International.
Great. I mean, again, it's October 14th, a great opportunity, and really some powerful sisters as part of the 6th annual MWBE STEM Entrepreneurial Empowerment Summit coming to the Cuse. And you can find out more information about that. My goal for presenting Pastor Dewberry, Bishop Dewberry, as well as others, is to let folks know what's happening in the community, especially as it's around the story and the narrative of our success, our wealth, our achievements. And so this is why we have these conversations, so that people can understand the stuff going on, stuff that we may not even know about. And fortunately for you, you're in a lot of the rooms when it happens. You know what I'm saying? Like Hamilton, you're in the room when it's happening. I mean, being on that community engagement thing, it's a pretty significant event. And again, the question is, and you made the point of how most of these sisters give back. What's the point of being in the room if it's not going to benefit everybody else outside of the community? Lift as we climb, if you will.
Absolutely.
That's what if there's one thing I would like to see more of, is this sort of you talk about building generational wealth, community continuity in that wealth, right? Because it seems like the community's always starting over too, not just families and generations here, but it seems like the community's always starting over. And you've been here long enough. Why is that?
I don't know. I think that a lot of gets lost when I came to this community, and for me, home is where you lay your head, obviously. But coming from an urban community and to a smaller community like this, for me, it was a big change. Obviously, like yourself, I came up under the tutorage of the civil rights movement.
Yeah.
My pastor, Dr. Phil Hill, the
Mhm.
late Dr. Phil D. Hill, was a roommate of Dr. Martin Luther King at Morehouse College, and
Mhm.
so Dr. King spoke at our church all the time in Columbus, and when I left Columbus to come here, the church that I pastored, I left to a king, a Joe King Jr., who is the first cousin of Dr. Martin Luther King. So I've had that kind of, you know, exposure, and so I was the social gospel thing was not something that was foreign to me because I'm a product of the civil rights movement, even
Mhm.
though it was slightly a generation before me. Um, but what I'm saying is that the movement, as my friend John always say, went from civil rights to silver rights, and now it's more technological than anything. And I just, where I think, in many respects, our communities just weren't ready for it. And when you look at the tech field, for instance, in the STEM field, most of them are women, and I mean really powerful women.
Mhm.
I'm just, I mean, as I, I'm relatively new in the STEM field, and really developed passion for it, and have made, built some relationships in this space, and most of them are women, and so we
Mhm.
really have to do double time as I see it. Those of us who have that, who might have a foot in the door, we have to widen it a bit, to help that next generation come through it, and otherwise we're gonna get left behind.
Mhm.
And that would really be a tragedy, in my opinion, in this community. It's too small. All this money is being spent around here, and we're not benefiting from it. Something's severely wrong with that. And if we let someone else just come and take everything, I mean, there's more than enough for everybody. But what I'm saying is that we should have a good part of it too.
So we should have a good part of it, and we shouldn't let it be distributed outside of the community. So how do we make sure that we are not left behind?
Well, you know, one of the things I think is what you're doing, and that I think is so direly needed in our community. That because of course, I remember your days, with iHeart and before that, and that's always been a missing piece in our community that prevents us or hinders us from being able to not only hear but to collaborate and work together and to organize together. So we
Mhm.
still lack that piece, but thank God that you're one of the few voices that we still have around that we can kind of like defer to, and what's even more what's even more good about that is that you've always been, and I think about down through the years when I've done events here that you've always been inviting to me and to want to share that with the community at large. So so and I think that's major. And that's one of the reasons why I have the Black Media Mogul program,
Mhm.
Mogul Maker program, because we want to raise up that aspect and we really have to multitask. We can't just focus on one and not do the other because
Right,
there's so many
right.
missing people
Yeah.
that and I don't know how you feel about it, George, but sometimes I look at there's so many programs, podcasts, and things like that, and people who they don't they're not um, packing 3 and 4 degrees necessarily,
No,
but they're
no.
they're people who got a grind in them. They have a dream.
Truth.
They went after. They worked hard at it, and then once they reach a certain level of success, they want to talk about how they did it and how they can help other people do it. And so we not really, unless you're tuned into that, you miss out all that free information that's being disseminated, through the podcast and things of that nature. My wife, man, she's on that stuff 24 hours a day. We come home from church, and that's what we watch,
Right,
and
right.
she can tell you about everything, whether it's Earn Your Leisure, all the
All of
different
the yeah,
podcasts.
yeah, yeah. Very
And
popular,
again,
right? Yeah.
yeah, but what excites me is that it's not just people who have good backgrounds. They're
Yeah.
people who come from the margins, man, that that have a grind in them, have a dream, and they're going after it. And so it's not just the sports figures that are that are successful. There are people coming from all walks of life, and it can happen. I believe it can happen here too. This can be a small Atlanta if we seize the moment.
If you think about it, it's certainly possible because, I mean, look at where's Walmart located? They've built the world's largest retailer is in what little place in Arkansas
yeah,
somewhere? Bentonville?
Yeah.
Some little place,
Somewhere.
right?
Yeah.
So it can be built. It can't be done. Look, Micron's headquartered in Boise. So
Boise.
It can't be done.
You're right.
Boise, Idaho.
Every time I think about that,
no disrespect. Really? We love you, Boise. Hey, no disrespect. And no disrespect because but
Absolutely.
basically, there are cities like that don't get all the hoopla like New York, right. Chicago, LA, and all that stuff. All right, so this is a sampling of the conversation that you will have on the 14th of October, Saturday, 9 to 5. It's the Center of Hope International presenting the 6th annual MWBE the MWBE STEM Entrepreneurial Empowerment Summit, 9 to 5, COHIinc.org. Again, you can see all the pricing, $175, $150 for youth. And there is you got plenty of time to register, but there is a registration deadline of October the 6th. It will come before you know it. And so make sure that you take advantage of that. Bishop Ronald Dewberry, thank you for the time. And we'll see you on the 14th, if not before then. And keep up the good work.
Look forward to it. Take care.
Inspiration for the nation.